Mike and Kathy Crum are in the process of converting their avocado orchards near Whangarei to organic production. Their background is in kiwi fruit, but they've diversified into avocados and bees. Mike shows us around.
Our business is an orcharding business. I'd term it an orcharding business, and the beekeeping has become the add-on, really. The thing that I've been involved in for 30 years now, ever since I left school, is growing kiwi fruit. Just worked through the system through management and managing orchards. And myself and my wife, Kathy, sort of built up a bit of equity through owning rental houses and through buying and selling dairy farms. And we've done a little bit of subdivision, that sort of stuff, just the normal sort of stuff to build up equity, which allowed us to purchase our 2 avocado properties. We have 20 acres at Tatton Road, where we are here, and 10 acres at Otaika Valley Road. We have a total of 9 canopy hectares of avocados. I guess we got into an avocado orchard rather than a kiwi fruit orchard because I think, for me, if I lived on a kiwi fruit orchard, it'd be like I were at work all the time. Whereas an avocado orchard is something totally different, and it's quite challenging too, which is part of the appeal too. And that certainly my opinion that is no one has really nailed it down yet how to grow avocados. So there's a challenging aspect of trying to get an avocado orchard to a point where it produces consistently every year. That is probably the biggest problem with the avocado industry from a marketer's point of view, is that one year they got heaps of fruit to sell, and then the next year we come up short. I think our top production has been 30,000 trays, and then we've been hit with the storms for the last few years. I think our bottom production's probably been about 6,000 trays, so quite a big range there, quite typical of the avocado industry, I guess. If we can produce the right fruit and get it to the market, I don't think there's any doubt that there's a market there. There's a lot of things within organics that I think are going to become best practice within the wider industry anyway. It's sort of the cutting edge, and also it's very much where we need to go as producers with nil residues and, you know, getting a lack of spray tolerance, and there's getting more and more awareness that if you want people to pay top money for food, that it's got to be nutritious, it's got to be at the high end of the nutritious range. You've got to be able to prove that, you know, you're farming in a sustainable way. Organic already means that, so it's a very, very powerful marketing tool too around the world. And so part of it is very much tapping into that. I guess we definitely did go into it for commercial reasons. I mean, not commercial reasons in a quick fix thing, because the conversion process is quite difficult. There's no doubt about that. It's not without problems. But have found very much the more we do, the more you like living like that too. You know, it's just lovely to live on an orchard that you don't spray, you know. The biggest concern with changing to organics is getting on top of your Phytophthora. I mean, everything else actually is fairly readily doable, but Phytophthora is a root rot that gets into the roots of the trees and the whole tree will collapse, it'll go yellow. Certainly the organics biggest problem, and it's probably one of the biggest problems actually within conventional growers as well. Everything else is quite doable. I mean, everyone worries about getting on top of their pest control, but I think it's the old story. As soon as you start working with nature, it's just amazing how powerful an ally nature actually is. And we've had some really good examples here. It's all been learning for us. But the 6-spotted mite, which is a major pest that we have to deal with and defoliates the trees, well, the first year that we went into it, actually 60% of the trees got defoliated. I mean, it just was an absolute infestation. But the interesting thing about it was that the place still set a crop, and by 3 months sort of later, by the infestation was around November, well, by February the whole place had grown a new set of leaves, and everything seemed to get in balance. We actually haven't had a 6-spotted mite problem since. We still get them, but at really, really low levels. And similarly with the leaf rollers, we pest monitor the place every 2 weeks, and we get them quite high levels of infestation, maybe up to 20%, that sort of number, but 20% of the sites will be infested, but they're always small ones. And I think actually what's happening, you see where the leaf roller starts to chew on the fruit, and the fruit seems to exude a bit of a white substance, which is quite visible, and the leaf roller just doesn't thrive, and so you never get a major infestation. You get a little bit of damage, but not a lot of damage. We get relatively high levels of thrips with our monitoring, but when it comes to picking and packing out, we actually don't get that much damage. And I think what's happening is that the sites of thrips, there's only 1 or 2 thrips per site, so the damage stays fairly small. It's quite typical to get a thumbnail-sized damage, whereas in a conventional orchard, up the tops of the trees where the sprays are not getting, it's quite common to get the whole fruit is bronzed from thrip damage, whereas that doesn't tend to happen on this orchard. There's a New Zealand Organic Avocados group, which is, you know, everyone's sort of grouped together and sharing knowledge and doing a bit of research. And there's up to something like 60 members, it might even be 68 members, so not all of them are certified and not all of them are, you know, at varying stages, but certainly as an interest thing, it's taking off. The other thing I want to show you, if I can just get right in here, is that there's some really interesting things going on under the leaf litter. There's a lot of life in here. There's a lot of little insects that are just jumping everywhere, and also a lot of fungi growth. And I think that has a lot of implications for our organic system, in that the roots of the avocado tree are actually smooth. They don't have root hairs, so the key to them feeding is actually for the roots to develop a mycorrhizal fungal population around the root, and the fungi actually does the job of pulling the nutrients from the soil into the root. And so what we can see on the surface here is just a symptom of a thriving sort of a natural population of fungi and bacteria, which is the key to these late generation type plants like an avocado tree feeding themselves and doing well. How are you finding this orchard, Tama?
Yeah, this is a lovely orchard.
I see that it's really good wood quality, eh? This really fat fruiting wood that you got here.
I've never seen anything fatter, actually.
Yep.
Of course, fat wood means fat fruit.
Yep. No, you get the avocado side of things, whilst it is growing, it actually works in really well with the kiwi fruit, in that one of our main contractors we work with is Varna Contracting, and he also does a big avocado picking contract. So he's able to provide continuity of work for his labour for 11 months of the year anyway. And then our labour force is based on the likes of Tama, who are local people. Often they've got family connections. Tama's workers, he's responsible for getting his gang and getting them trained up, and he's getting the same people come back every year. If we could get both orchards producing about 6 or 7 tonnes a hectare every year on a really low-cost system, well, it would be quite a profitable business for us, and really that's where we're heading. I think the other part of it is that we really, really enjoy the lifestyle aspect of it. I mean, it's a lovely setting to live on. It's very private. It's a great place to be bringing up our kids. That they enjoy it here. You're getting all the advantages of rural living, I guess, without too demanding a orchard.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.